informational purposes. Hey everybody, welcome to Colorful Tips here at Judd Radio 1400. The show, the product of the man himself, Sam Catania of Sam Catania Painting, who, even when I introduce him, is not sitting in his chair. That tells you a lot about Sam.
Oh, man. Colorful Tips number 10, people. Colorful Tips number 10. And our special guests. One's an employee, one's special guest. First, we have employee Bryan Olesky, who is... He's a lot of things. Director of special events. Bryan, what else do you do?
Just, the self-proclaimed face of the company is pretty much
I like that.
Pretty much what it's about.
I like that.
Yeah, Bryan keeps me in check, or he tries to.
Yeah.
And the other one, the special guest we have is...
Sergeant Tom Lenox, City of Erie Police Department.
Yeah.
There we go.
Nice cast of characters today.
Then always the wonderful AC.
Yes.
Always.
Always the wonderful.
Always the wonderful.
But not
AC.
always wonderful. Yeah.
It seems to be, I'm thinking maybe that chair might be the stable side.
Yeah, I think so. It
I
seems
think
like
it's
whoever's sitting there is kind
Have
of
you
the
noticed
anchor of
that?
the show. Yeah. I don't know. It's the feng shui of the studio.
So today I want to talk about, just so you know, we don't come in with a script. We just roll. This is genuine. This is natural. Whatever we talk about, we talk about. But I want to talk about PAL, Police Athletic League.
Mm-hmm.
Tom, what do you got to tell us about PAL? For the people that don't know what PAL is.
Yes, Police Athletic League is a program that we run through the police department. Back in 2015, former Chief Randy Bowers approached myself and another officer with an idea of possibly getting the Police Athletic League started in the city of Erie. And just a little history lesson, Police Athletic League was very popular in the city back through the 70s.
Right.
And basically their last year of existence in Erie was 1985. So Ronnie DiNicola, former Chief Randy Bowers, and former Deputy Sheriff John Habersky came up with the concept of trying to establish relationships in our youth with police officers and the, kids in our community, basically to familiarize our youth what it is that police officers do. And, let's face it, at that time, there was a lot of push-pull with the community and the police officers. So with my coaching background, I coached wrestling for 25 years. So it was just a great role for me to be in because I've worked around youth for now approximately 35 years, and I firmly believe that they are our future. And if working a youth program in through the police department was a concept to have a direct impact on our youth, not only was I all in, our department was all in, and we're starting to see the positive results of that investing in our youth and our community.
Yeah, and it goes deeper than just law enforcement. Mm-hmm. It goes sheriffs, sergeants, police officers, attorneys, judges, teachers, vendors, contractors. I mean, it keeps going.
Yeah,
as an endeavor. Yes.
Yeah. And to Sam's point, there are so many different partners throughout the city that sometimes they go unmentioned. I mean, the school district, City of Erie School District, when we first started back in 2016, the basic concept was one school. We started our home location pilot program, so to speak, was Piper Burley. We basically attached ourselves to the after-school program there. They had two great, outstanding teachers over there that basically showed us the ropes inside of the school setting on what their structure was. Missy Hall, I was waiting for you to take a breath. I was going to mention Missy Hall, my cousin, is the one that got me involved. And that's how I met Tom Lenox. And through Missy Hall getting Sam Catania Painting involved, I brought Bryan Olesky in, and Bryan's got all these crazy ideas
So, Bryan, tell us his story about. He comes to me with this idea about, hey, book bags. I'm going to let Bryan talk. Tell us this.
Sure. So about 2 years ago, my girlfriend and I were just at Walmart, and we were looking around, and we noticed that there was some deals on all the school supplies, and we're like, hey, it'd be cool if we donated some book bags with some supplies to kids, because we kind of do the Toys for Tots every year. So we're like, this is a new thing we can do in the middle of the summer, when school season starts. So I was like, let's see if I can get Sam on board, and let's do this in just a greater scale. So I went to Sam with the idea, and he liked it, and then we agreed on like an amount and everything like that. So then for the next few
we agreed on approximately 1,000 bags.
Yeah. So that's what it came out
fully
to.
Stocked.
Yeah, fully stocked book bag with, notebooks, pencils, pens, all the different supplies. And so for the next month or so, I drove around to about every single Walmart from Ashtabula, went into New York,
more than you could chew.
Went to, Meadville, Warren, Titusville, everywhere, and bought every single book bag I could find.
So he says we might have to go out of state. We completely bought out of everything.
Yeah, wow. Every Walmart in Erie bought all the clearance book bags out, and then
Crawford
just
County,
literally
Erie County.
All over, and then had to get all the matching supplies and packed all the bags, which endless hours. But I mean, at the end of the day, it was.
It's all behind the scenes that people don't look at, people don't see, and that's when I approached Tom Lenox. I said, Lenox, what do you think of this idea? Check this out for all the kids. Let's start handing them out.
Right.
Because he's the mastermind behind all this.
Yes.
I want to see what he thinks of this.
Well, and to Sammy and Brian's point, when Sammy initially came on board, I know we were telling a little story offline the first time I ever met Sam. Was not what I expected. I get people joke with me all the time about me being very animated when I talk, motivating, and just trying to bring the room up, the intensity level of the room up. I thought I was good at it until I brought Sam in for the first time, and I was blown away. I was like, wow, this guy's pretty good. So we got to talking, and and again, it changed the mindset of our program, and it was actually a game changer to where initially, the funding in our program, we were taking donations at the time, wasn't really a lot of funding coming in. So when Sam came to the table, it changed my whole mindset as far as getting the business community involved with his program. So with that being said, Bryan, talking about the book bags and the tasks, the daunting task at times when you're going store to buy everything.
Sure.
I can definitely empathize with that, and those are a lot of the things that go on behind the scenes. But the day of our camp, we have a camp at Gannon every year. When the kids receive those book bags with all the school supplies. We're talking 300-400 kids every year that get something in addition to the things that the program provides. And I got Sammy to really thank for that, because now it's a traditional thing. We went from one camp a summer to now we do 3. Okay. That's how much the program has grown. We started off with 35 kids initially. Now we're up to over 600 kids in the city that are now involved with this program. So,
what ages does that consist of for the people that don't know?
Yeah, so what we do is we start off with third grade, and we run through with these kids up through to the high school. So third through their last year in high school. And what we're starting to see now is the majority of our nucleus, they're now in middle school. And they're starting to trickle into the high schools now.
Yeah,
so really,
that's very cool.
Yeah, really looking forward to tracking these kids to see, to see them through graduation, to see them achieve some of the goals and their dreams that we talk with these kids about on a weekly basis.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, because I spend too much time on social media, so I know how social media can be. When you restarted the program, there must have been some cynical people out there going, look, the divide between the community, especially the kids, and police is too big, and something like this is, something we did that worked in the 60s, but we can't do it now. You must have heard some of that from some people.
Yeah.
Sure
well,
it still does.
And to your point, it took a while. It took a couple years for, all the kids to buy in, and then the adults, in the community. I mean, we're going into year 7 now, and now it's basically a permanent fixture within our community.
Yeah.
And though that first year, to your point, those 35 kids, I would say 60% of them in that classroom with Missy Hall and Daniel Baldy. I don't want to say it was standoffish, but I just think there was a lot that the kids didn't know about what the police officers actually did. And and then there were a lot of adults of those kids that were a little skeptical, like, why are the police inside of the school? And I think once we worked through that first year, then we had that first camp at Gannon, I think that's where we started seeing a lot of the buy-in. So, I mean, it did have its challenges, even on our side of the fence. I know that, even within our own department, it was very clear from the beginning that we weren't just going to put a Band-Aid on a laceration just for, political reasons or community perception, that this is going to be something like a response to possibly the complaints we were getting. So I think it was very clear that this was something that we were going to go all hands on deck. We went from 4 officers the first year to where we have 93 officers that now actively work the program.
93.
That's awesome.
That's amazing.
And it's not just EPD. It's, the Sheriff's Department, the District Attorney's Office, Gannon University, their police department. And newly this year, we're incorporating the City of Erie School District Police that have now joined the Police Athletic League. In addition to juvenile probation, they're going into year 2 with the program. So this thing is growing, which is a good problem to have.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, it's also a statement that, even though I'm sure in the beginning there were those, moments of doubt, that the cynical people were wrong. I mean, if it's growing, more partners are getting involved, more officers, more kids, I mean, obviously, and we always hear that in Erie. Well, I don't know. No matter what you try to do, then, I don't think. We don't want that.
Yeah, we get it. We totally get it.
You know exactly what I mean.
We totally get it. And this is why
we're going to give everybody a donut. No, don't do that. Make them earn their donut. Yes, come on.
And this is why I wanted to get Bryan Olesky involved, because I said, Bryan, check this out. You got to see this. People that don't go to the camp don't understand. It's open. You do it 5 days a week, that week. And I want Lenox to tell the people what it consists of. There's arm wrestling, boxing, forensic. I mean, it keeps going.
Yeah, so I have nothing but great things to say. We have a great partnership with Gannon University. And that door was open with an opportunity. I approached Gannon back in 2015 to possibly start up a camp to have on a college campus, which I'd like to note that we're the first POW chapter in the country that ever had a camp on an actual college
I didn't even
campus.
know that.
So from that
Very
standpoint, and I found that out after the fact that that we were the first organization chapter that actually did it on a college campus. So, when I approached Gannon about it, they were they bought into the whole concept to give back. So when we have that camp at week, it's all hands on deck. Every athletic team basically runs a component of that camp throughout the week. It's not just athletics. When people hear the Police Athletic League, there's an incorporation of, life skills component that the kids have to go through once a day. We get the criminal justice program involved with Dr. Yeshin, the forensic professor at Gannon. So, and Dr. Jerry Clark, the former FBI regional director, Jason Wick. I mean, it's that week at the university is very special because these kids not only get an athletic education, they also get an education on, the profession in general.
Yeah.
So, and the life skills that come with it.
Well, even beyond that, sorry to cut you off.
Yes, sir.
Even beyond that, like you and Bryan may not really understand what's behind the scenes. What people don't see, people see and may understand that week camp, but people don't see what Missy Hall and Tom Lennox do year round.
Right.
Am I allowed to mention door to door?
Yes.
If I'm not, I just did.
Well, right. Well, and to Sam's point, there's a lot of things that the community doesn't see, behind the scenes, and it's not just one person or the 93 officers that are contributing to this program and making it grow. I mean, when I say that the teachers are the most valuable players of this, organization, I mean, they're behind the scenes, doing the legwork, going door to door with us to hand out all these applications to the kids for all these camps that we do throughout the summer. So without that, partnership, it is about partnerships. It's about getting everybody in our community on the same page, because at the end of the day, it's a win-win for everybody. It's a win-win for us officers when we're out here, because that's another special thing that this program really benefits a lot of our police officers that are patrolling out here. When these kids start to identify and recognize the officers, because they've already are familiar with their human side, because we spend a lot of time going over that, articulating and explaining to these kids that there's nothing really that separates us from you. You know what I mean? We all have the same problems. A lot of us have come from poverty. A lot of us have come from single parent homes. A lot of us has been in environments where there's violence and drug use and, and those kinds of things. And I think, and the officers that join this program, I vet officers just as much as kids are vetted. They know that, they have to be honest and share their journey and their stories, because the perception of the public and even from our adults is that we're a bunch of robots that don't feel, we're not compassionate, we have no empathy. But I think what this program has brought to our community is it's quite the opposite. And I think our adults are learning through our youth.
Yeah, and the other side of that too, the misunderstanding with law enforcement is, and you touched on this earlier, is people, kids and adults, I think, don't really understand what you guys do all day long. We think about, I saw a high-speed chase, or here they are where somebody tried to, commit a robbery or whatever. But what you guys, the bulk of an officer's day is stuff that people don't even realize.
Correct. Yes. Well, and that's the thing. And, when we first started this, and to your point, that's all the kids would see. The car chases, the foot chases, the robberies, and, and let's face it, most of the time when people are calling the police, it's not like the fire department. Not that I'm, everybody's happy to see the firemen, but a lot of times when the police respond to a residence or to a neighborhood or, to a special event when there's not so good things going on, the public, they only see us in those settings.
Right.
But the reality is, once you don't have those intense incidents that are going on, we walk away and we're back to being just normal people.
Right.
And these kids have a clear understanding that we have a job to do, and our job is to protect and the safety of the citizens throughout the city, first and foremost. But with that being said, I think this program has, and I think as a profession, not just locally, but on a national level, we have to give the public a little sneak peek of who we truly are as well. I think so. Yeah. And I think where Erie's kind of setting the tone and being that blueprint for a lot of these other cities that are surrounding cities around us, we just got to stay the course and be in for the long game, not for the short game. Yeah,
and it's interesting, as you mentioned earlier, like, some of the initial kids who were involved in the program when it came back, and now as they get older, and generation, and it continues for, with another group of kids, and then they're, kids. That's what makes a difference, is that long-standing, understanding, whereas before it was, well, I see these cops on TV and they look scary, so I don't like them.
Right, correct. And, and I know in our city, and I'm sure you guys are aware of this as well, that, recruiting, for that, because I'm also the recruiter for our department. And, for years, it, we were always focused on short-term fixes. How are we going to, increase diversity from within a department, and try to make the department more reflective of the community it's serving. But the reality is we've been doing it wrong up to the point of when Police Athletic League first got incorporated, because the long game, and it's just going out there and educating our minority community in these schools that this is a possibility for you. That you can do this. And not being delusional, I think in 10 years, this is not going to be a problem throughout the city in terms of getting diversity naturally.
Right.
Kids that want to do this job. Why? Because they're watching what we're doing inside the schools and inside, at these camps. Like tomorrow, we're taking 150 kids up to Niagara Falls on a field trip. And we have 30 officers going up on this trip. And the reason why I bring this up is, again, they're seeing that police aren't what we really thought they were, or what they might have been told,
or what they were told,
or what they were told. So
this is the misperception. This is what behind the scenes people don't see.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. And and what's really cool too is when you start getting a lot of your community, your adult members of your community that that have grown up in the same struggles and might have not had great encounters with police, when you start seeing the mindsets changing on that level is when you know that this program is really making a difference.
Wow. Really interesting stuff. Sam, we're down to our last 3 minutes. We should probably, this is me being a radio professional, we should probably mention your business and your phone number.
I already know what it is. Sam Catania Painting. Sam Catania Painting, 814-866-2600.
Okay.
Or if you want to contact Bryan Olesky, he's the face of the company.
He is.
Don't forget it.
Bryan,
he just told us so.
Bryan does all the special events. Bryan, he's special. Bryan does all the sign rotation. You see a Catania Painting sign somewhere, blame Bryan. Don't call the office.
Yeah,
okay.
If it's a little crooked, that's on me there.
And I want to throw a shout out to Danzer Collision, East 12th Street, and my partner's new business we opened, Off-Road Tackle Box, 3407 Peachtree, for all your truck, Jeep, SUV needs, tow ropes, everything. And that's Corey Braden and Mike Allward.
All right.
And Brian's been quiet today.
He has.
Brian.
Well, I'm kind of off in this corner right now, and it's I don't know. I got the whole screen, so I can't really see anyone. But
Brian's been quiet.
Well,
like we said, AC, we said that.
That's the
it's that chair.
yeah, because you're kind of off in your own little
chair.
corner right now.
Because Missy did it there.
Yes.
She was the anchor.
Yeah, and Missy's never.
But she was so cool here.
She was.
So it's the
Missy's
chair.
kind of off the wall a little bit. Yeah.
It's the chair, the magic of the chair in the corner.
We aren't just a painting company. There are a lot of behind the scenes, like Bryan Olesky here. You don't know about Bryan. Bryan's kind of quiet behind the scenes. There are a lot of players involved in Sam Catania Painting, and we don't want to just be a painting contractor. We want to be a pillar in the community, and that's why every week I have it scheduled out. Every week I'm trying to bring in special guests, and
Very
that's why Colorful Tips number 10, EPD Tom Lenox. That was an awesome
That was great.
segment.
That was great.
And I will say this, ending it on Sam. I mean, if you're going to hire somebody within our community or business community, I know when I am looking for work on my house, and Sam actually did paint my house, the interior, I look for the measure of a person with a good heart and who does a lot for the community, and what you see is what you get. And
Don't let that scare you.
No, and I mean that.
Hey,
listen,
I paid you $150 to say that. You're only getting $100.
But I mean that. When I say what you see is what you get, I mean that in nothing but positive. And kudos to Sammy, because he is a giver.
I'm paying him to say this, too.
He's a giver. And you know what? I don't know how he makes any money, because he gives a lot of it away. Because
right.
he just admitted it. See what I mean?
Because he does give a lot back to this community. So for that, we appreciate your support and everything you've done.
Thanks.
For us.
I'm glad to be a part of it.
All
Part of
right.
the community. And
I
with
think
you
that's
guys.
an awesome note to end the show on. Thank you, gentlemen.
All right. Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Brian.